everybody, welcome to Review a Day, episode number 18 for Saturday, August the 30th, 2008. Hello everybody, welcome to Review a Day, the daily video blog where I review a movie 7 days a week. My name is Leland Brungarn, and thank you very much for joining me. The movie I'm reviewing for you guys today is the new Steve Coogan movie, Hamlet 2. Hamlet 2 is directed by Andrew Fleming, who did another movie I actually really like called Dick, which is with Michelle Williams and Kirsten Dunst. It's about the Watergate scandal, kind of funny and light. I like it a lot. He also directed the Nancy Drew from 2007, which I did not see. The movie is written by Andrew Fleming and Pam Brady, and Pam Brady is she helped co-write the South Park movies. I don't know how much input she had on those, but her name's on the scripts. This movie stars Steve Coogan, Catherine Keener, Elizabeth Shue is in it, David Arquette and Amy Poehler also have small roles. Also a cast of a lot of young people. One of the cast members who plays kind of the dopey guy who does the lights was actually one of the Seven Dorks in Sydney White, which is a movie I really like, which is kind of one of my guilty pleasures. Okay, so Hamlet 2 is about Steve Coogan plays this kind of washed-up actor. He never really made it. He decided to become a drama teacher. He moves to Tucson, Arizona, and he teaches drama in a high school. Every single year, he has like 2 people in his class, and he puts on plays based on based on movies. In the beginning of the movie, we see him putting on a production of Aaron Brockovich. His plays always get panned, and the school decides to cut funding for the drama department. He decides that he's going to go out with a bang and try to raise enough money to save it. And this little kid who's this critic suggests doing something original. He says he's always had the idea to do Hamlet 2. He puts it on, it's big and offensive, and shit goes crazy. And that's basically the synopsis for this story. One thing I thought was kind of surprising was that the script for this movie actually isn't that funny. The bare bones of this script, the laughs are kind of few and far between. The dialogue isn't that funny. At times in this movie, I felt like it was kind of a subpar John Waters. It was kind of poking fun at Tucson, Arizona. It wasn't quite subversive enough to be John Waters. And it wasn't really that ridiculous. For a movie called Hamlet 2, I was kind of surprised at how much really didn't happen until the end of the film. However, this movie actually is very funny, and it has one saving grace, and his name is Steve Coogan. If you don't know who Steve Coogan is, he's in Tropic Thunder. He's the director who gets blown up. But I fell in love with Steve Coogan when I started watching him on I'm Alan Partridge, and he also did another series with that character called Knowing Me, Knowing You. It's this kind of old washed-up radio character, TV host he does. He's very funny. He's had a couple series in the UK. I highly recommend looking at everything he's done, especially his TV work, because Steve Coogan really is a comic genius, and he's kind of like a Ben Stiller in England. He's not so well known here, but I think he's kind of getting a name. I wish this movie was funnier, because I think that he deserves to be much more famous in the United States than he is. I think he's great. Also in this movie, I was very surprised that Catherine Keener was in another movie I recently watched lately, and she's very funny in this film. There's a couple people in this film that really kind of saved it for me, and Catherine Keener was definitely one of them. She plays Steve Coogan's wife, and she's just a bitch, and she's drunk a lot of the movie. She's very funny. She's really been surprising me lately. I think my distaste for her came from all the way back when I watched Being John Malkovich, which she's very good in, but she plays kind of a really manipulative role, and I think I've been thinking of her as that role ever since. So it's kind of she did a really great job in Being John Malkovich, that I actually thought she was that person. Also, Elizabeth Shue pops up in this movie, and she's playing herself. She plays a nurse at a hospital, and Steve Coogan finds her and he's like, "You look exactly like Elizabeth Shue," and she's like, "I am Elizabeth Shue," and it's because she hated acting, and so she quit and she became a nurse. I think it's very surprising that she's in this movie. She plays a washed-up actress playing herself. I thought it was very funny. So kudos on that. The last half hour of this movie probably was really actually very funny. Amy Poehler comes in toward the end, and she really injects a lot of energy into the movie. This movie is really kind of a spoof on films like Dead Poets Society and Dangerous Minds, kind of the teacher who tries to inspire them. But in this movie, he just happens to be kind of an idiot. And once they decide to put on the play and everything like that, the movie really kind of saves it. There's this part where he's making copies, and he goes to the copy shop, and there's this copy shop guy who is very funny, and he comes to see the show, and he's smoking pot in the audience. And he was probably the funniest stoner I've seen this summer in a movie. Funnier than Pineapple Express. Of course, his part's only 5 seconds in the film, but it was actually very funny, and I liked it quite a bit. The guy's actually he has a tiny small part in Orange County. If you remember this scene where Sissy Spacek's daughter, I can't remember her name, goes to a party at Stanford, and she's kind of talking to another guy who's talking about his bros and fixing cars. It's that guy. It's very funny. He's very funny in Orange County as well. I wish I knew his name. I don't, though. Also, one other thing this movie really has going for it is that it's 90 minutes. When I felt like there's a point in this movie where I was like, we need to get to the final scene. We need to see the play. It happens. The play happens, then the movie ends. I love movies that are over when you want them to be over, because this movie, had I dragged on another 15 minutes, it would have been an entirely different story. This is not the best comedy I've seen this summer. I don't think this is a really it's not a genius piece of work. It's funny. I've seen much worse comedies, but for 90 minutes, I was laughing. I think this is going to be really one of those movies that, when I'm flipping through HBO in the middle of the day, if Hamlet 2's on, I'm definitely going to keep it there and watch it and laugh. And I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but for 90 minutes, I enjoyed it. Steve Coogan is fantastic. He's one of the great comics working right now. I highly recommend I'm Alan Partridge or Knowing Me, Knowing You with Alan Partridge. I know I'm Alan Partridge on DVD. I don't know about his other series. Check him out. He's fantastic. If you guys are enjoying my reviews, make sure and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.